Maybe now. So, hey, hi, y'all. I'm Scott. I'm going to adjust things and get comfortable because we're going to sit around and make some music for a while. This is the Covert Café Scott Allen cello brunch. Happens on Sundays, 11 to 1. Sometimes bring friends. Today, it's just me solo. I've got all my pedals out, and we'll have some fun. Yeah. Right now, I'm going to mess around with this Electro-Harmonix micro synth, which is sort of makes some fun, cool sounds, and I'm actually pairing it with the Eventide Harmonizer pitch factor on the pitch flex effect. The two of them together, so it's sort of there's a little bass and a little grit. Hey, Miranda. Hey. Show was awesome. It was so good. Yeah. It was a Haymaker with JoJo Gold, and it was just like playing with her. It's just there's such a strong familiarity between the two of us now that like it's like it really is like a sensual experience. Like there is a real connection between the two of us playing, and it's like it's palpable, and the audience feels it, and and we feel it, and I mean, it's just like whoa. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I love playing with JoJo. She's great. And yeah, we had a great time. It was a great crowd. And Heather Christie was there, and she was great. Yeah, good times. All right, here you go. just a little warm-up loop. So yeah, that's just getting started, and fun with the micro synth and all the pedals. That's why I asked Joe for an extra power supply. I'm like, can I borrow one? Because I just really want to use everything. So yeah, it's nice to have a full palette. And I love my toys. Let's see. Yeah. How many
shows did you play this past week?
This past week I played. Now you're asking me to engage my memory. I only think forward. I'm never thinking back. No. Well, I mean, I had Friday and then Saturday and Sunday today. Now.
So at least like
and then
3-4 shows a week?
yeah, that's typical. Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps busy.
It does. It is keeping me busy. And then, you try to squeeze in the open mics and jams with friends and things like that too, and band practices, right?
Yeah,
And so that don't happen, but we try, and
It's okay, we try.
and yeah, it does. I don't have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Halfway through that set, it's like I'm messing around with the effects, always trying to make it do things, and then it's like, error, error. It just drops. It'll stop doing what it's doing, and it just chokes on it. Like, I can't handle. You're giving me too much to do. Stop. Yeah. That's one. I won't slander any brands, but that's one that this brand should fix. thank you. Glad you like that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've given that one a name yet, but that one's locked into pattern number 2. I've replayed that one a few times. Sometimes I'll hold on to them after I set the loop, if it's a good one, and I'll reuse it and kind of hone it and get better at it. Yeah, it was fun. So right now it's just track number 2. Needs a name.
Untitled track. That should be the name. Working title.
If I started doing that, I'd have a million of them, and they'd all be, meaningless. No, it's really part of the joy of like creating these little vignettes of sound is like thinking about what it is, like the emotional spirit behind that song that I've created, and like what is a story that kind of comes to my mind or it evokes. And then that's one of the reasons why I like to name my stuff after sci-fi movie shows, books, anime, comics, whatever references, characters within stories, or chapter names, episode names, like anything. So yeah, but it's the evocation of the music and what it means to me after I play it, like helps me find those sources, those relational names. So it's a fun practice. And what I need to do is find some of these gems that have happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks and like pick those out, give them proper names, and bring them out.
Bring them to form.
All right. Hey. We was just talking about you. We was. Yeah, I was just describing the the sort of magnetic energy that we have when we're playing on just there's a very close feedback between the two of us while we play, and it's just you know, it's cool. It's fun to and it feeds off the crowd's, energies too, just like all music does. But yeah, I really enjoy playing with you, JoJo. Yeah, yeah. Um,
My arm just can't do it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, my left arm is injured and has been for a couple months now, and it's like it definitely limits my ability to play with as much strength and facility with my hand, particularly my pinky and my third finger. So yeah, so sometimes I might struggle reaching a note, and it's just a physical disability at the moment that I'm hoping I'll be able to heal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I might try to take it down a little notch. This is a nice high energy thing. Let's bring something soft and sensitive into this. See what it is.
Welcome.
What's the name of that?
That one's called Important People. Yeah, it's an older one. I think it's video number 8 on my YouTube channel, and if you scroll back far enough on Instagram, you find it there too. Yeah, it's called Important People, and it was a video of some royal family. I'm assuming from like a German or Austrian royal family or something, because the automobile was like it was a limousine, but it was a Mercedes limousine, was what I noticed in the video. But it was from the 60s, and they're very fancy-looking people with being surrounded by a bunch of, royal security of various sorts and other important people, just hanging around, being important together, on kind of some Super 8 footage. And there's some family shots of the royal family and all this stuff, whichever royal family they are. I mean, I really don't know who these people are, but they're important. And that's their song.
It's dreamy.
There are a few videos like that are made from people's Super 8 footage from, the past that, of some moment captured. And there is something very spacey and dreamy about that, the Super 8 footage style. It's silent. It's just these pictures, and you can kind of in your head imagine the sound of the projector or film camera, like while you're looking at the film, and it almost like has that same sort of rhythm in your music, that you can play too. So, yeah, I enjoy vintage film. So if you do too, go check out my YouTube channel and go find all my old videos, because they're really cool. Hey, yeah, fun with all the pedals. That one's called Lady in the Rocket, and you know, it's a fun thing about doing these. And JoJo commented on it, how like she plays with me, and all the time it's different. It's like, oh, you know, this isn't how we practiced it, you know, but that's okay, and that's not how I've played Lady in the Rocket before. And I'll probably play it a bunch more times, and it'll be many other different iterations. But you can find that one also on my YouTube channel. It's video number 63, Lady in the Rocket, about the lady who is a triple threat performer. You know, she sings, she songs, she dances, you know, plays all the instruments. And it's really about her and the Oldsmobile rocket automobile. Made in the 50s. They made a full-length feature film to advertise how cool their car was in the narrative story of a film. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You should go check that one out too.
Oh, hey, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Justin. Yeah, you too. Good to see you, Justin. Yeah, so this is, thanks, y'all. A lovely time. I'm so glad to see so many friends popping in, and it's fills my heart. So, but yeah, we get to do this every Sunday and have some fun. I'm gonna maybe try to play something familiar if I can remember how it goes. A lot of stuff here. I've been stumbling on older themes that I used to play but don't commonly play. And it's sort of nice just to fall back into some of that history. Let's see. But here's... All right. I'm going to play Cloud 9, which is on Outlaws of Oberon, my recent EP release on streaming platforms. Yeah, under the name Cellographic, which is my other project. Cellographic is it's a video cello, and it is a big part of my up-and-coming future of music performance because it takes these little musical vignettes that I create here, and I work on them, extend them, and create video sources for them that I project through the cello. And so it's really like a foreground characters and other type of thing, sort of like cell animation that occurs like on this cello. I have characters interplaying with a background, other projections to combine in a storytelling situation with my music, because I was sort of explaining how earlier how these songs, after I've created them and they become something I want to repeat, that I usually give them a name, and that name is oftentimes based on this feeling that they evoke. But also that's the same source, that feeling is the same source for the material that I choose to edit for video. Yeah, I'm just really excited to take the storytelling that I get to do statically on YouTube and with my music, but mix it and create it live in like a multi-dimensional performance through Cellographic. So that's something to look forward to. Check it out on cellographic.com and also the streaming services. This is Cloud 9. Hey, hi. That one's called Cloud9. Yeah, I was saying streaming platforms and whatnot. Outlaws of Oberon is the name of the EP. I'll play another one from that right now. It was called The Train Job. That one's sort of fun. Oh, hey, there's a woo. And actually, this is a fun story. I'm going to tell two quick stories, and they kind of bridge together. Like, as a musician, you want people to know you for your music, right? You know? And one time at Shady Pines Festival, which is coming up this summer, July 17th through 20th, it was my first time going to Shady Pines Festival. It was 2.5 years ago. And I was walking through the parking lot, and Matt Varga, who I didn't really know very well or at all at the time, hollered out, "Hey, are you Scott Allen, the cellist?" And so, like, to be out in public somewhere and have somebody recognize me for my art back then was just this really uplifting thing. It happens more often, I think, now. But similarly, this... oh, shoot, I forgot my story now. The other half of the story. Yeah, it's... I was over at not Netspace. I was over at Jaja and doing the Polyjamorous Jam, and I was showing my friend Dave some music of mine, and I was showing him the Train Job video, and this other guy in the room was like, "Hey, I know that song." So, like, that was like the next level thing for me in terms of like identification out in public, somebody recognizing a song that I'm playing and that I've played before and saying that they've heard it before and that they remember it. So, and that was a person I didn't know. So that was really thrilling. Hopefully I can have more experiences like that as I keep pushing more music out. And so thank you all for coming. I'm enjoying sharing this with you. This is The Train Job. That one's an older one. I know it's an older one because it was on my looping pedal, my older looping pedal that I sometimes occasionally transfer stuff off of and onto this newer pedal. But yeah, I might explore a few more of those older ones. There's some gems in there.
that one called?
Track number 13 on my 1440 looper.
That was trans.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, we'll see. I thought I was playing Young Barry for a second, but then I realized I wasn't playing Young Barry, which is another one of my sort of jazzier themes like that. Let me play it. I might have played a different version of this earlier today. I don't know. But we're going to play it. The only problem with using loops that I've done before is that lots of times I recorded them at different tuning, and so I switch from one pre-recorded loop to another, and I'm like, oh wait, I gotta tune to this real quick. So it's part of the song and dance. Then halfway through that, I remembered I did play this earlier today. So, anyways, apologize for the double up for those who have been here. I think it was only Miranda at this point that heard that twice, maybe. Okay.
Sounds great every time.
Hey. Right answer. Yeah, why don't we just do that? That one's called Three Ring Circus, and it was, I think, is video number 31 in my YouTube videos. I didn't really mention, but I have mentioned before that it was part of a marathon that I went on of making music videos when I had been sort of isolated with my music for a number of years, just creating loops in my home and not being very social with my music. And I felt like I really need people to know what I've been playing the last few years, so I took a bunch of those loops and I was searching out source material that I could use to create some kind of stories with these loops. And my favorite thing that I discovered was really archive.org and this huge library of vintage film, and just to be able to take that stuff and edit it and modify it, make it sort of different through rescoring it and editing it to fit this sort of storytelling format. And that song just was very circusy to me, vaudevillian, obviously, right? And that's sort of like the it's sort of like the clown's laughter in a way, something like that. Is sort of what I imagine it to be like. And so yeah, that's a fun video number 31, Jerry Lewis film from late 50s. A lot of my sources are like 1959. The Mummy is also that, that's what I'm going to play next. That's the Mummy. And you know what? I should have put that to the dance beat. That would have been fun. I could have taken. I know. I could usually do take it out, but I was just feeling the passion of it. Hey, Max. Hey. All right. Days just gets better and better. Let's see. We'll see. I don't know what I'll do next. That one was fun. That was the Mummy.
It's like 12:58.
12:58. All right. I got another one. I got a wee bit of a lead start, so I'm gonna get one more for Max. Hold on. See if I can do this. Hey. I know, right? So I want to play this one. I have to remember exactly how it goes. That's not it. This one's called Alderon's Wake. This one is on my recent release, Outlaws of Oberon, and dedicated to Max, because Max also sings a song about Alderon. Sorry, your planet is gone. Thank you. Yeah, as I was saying, that was Alderon's Wake, and that one's on my Spotify EP, iTunes, or whatever, all the streamings. Outlaws of Oberon, and the meaning of that one is dual. It's it's really about Alderaan, which is the Princess Leia's planet in Star Wars. It was sadly, tragically blown up because of the Empire being evil. And so the first part of the song is really just a dirge, a sadness, a lament for the loss of the people of Alderaan. But then the uplifting bit as it transforms at the end is really, it's not just Alderaan's wake as in a funeral ceremony, but it's Alderaan's wake as in like the spirit that they left behind. It travels through space and maybe brings their energy outward and helps rebuild, recreate something magical out there in the universe, but it carries on, and that's what that song's about. So thanks for letting me share it. Thank you for coming out. This has been Scott Allen and Cello Graphic. I hope to play for you again soon. Thank you, Joe and Joe from the Covert Café. You guys are awesome. I love you.